victim blaming. One of the oldest tools in the patriarchal playbook, right? And definitely in the fascist playbook. Yeah, I raped her, but did you see what she was wearing? Can you blame me? George Floyd should not have resisted arrest or he'd still be alive today. Trayvon Martin should have put his hands up when the rent-a-cop, who didn't even have a right to stop him, if he had only obeyed, he would still be alive today. Victim blaming is the tool for those who have the most power in a situation or in a society, is a way to deflect blame. Wasn't my fault. If they'd only behaved, if she'd only dressed appropriately, if he'd only listened. So it's not my fault, it's their fault. Hi, I'm Carolyn. Welcome back to my channel called As I See It, where I talk all things politics and current events. I logged on to work this morning, logged onto my computer, and checked my comments on this channel, and there were no fewer than half a dozen comments spreading victim-blaming propaganda against Abrego Garcia. I got a little bit yesterday, but I got a lot this morning. And my channel is tiny here. This video only has a couple thousand views. I've said this before in comments and in other videos. I have been on YouTube long enough, even on my other channel, I have seen it, to recognize concerted efforts to spread propaganda and lies, whether it is foreign troll farms or bots. I recognize patterns. I recognize speech and the way they say things. And it's no accident that this morning, Kristi Noem released a police report about Abrego Garcia. They released this news yesterday that his wife had filed a restraining order against him in 2021. And it's no accident that this is getting blasted across social media. Blasted, blasted, blasted. Blame the victim. He had every right to kidnap him off the street and send him to a foreign death camp. Oh, while we're on that subject, I did make a small error in my last video about El Salvador. I should have known this. Sometimes I just talk and I'm not necessarily always, I don't have a script, so things come out of my mouth. So Hitler did, in fact, have a lot of concentration camps that were not in Germany. Hitler also exported the people he wanted to disappear because it's easier out of sight, out of mind. That was actually a Hitler tactic, and that fact escaped my mind in the moment when I was speaking, and a viewer pointed that out, and I want to thank you. So yeah, Hitler put his concentration camps in other occupied territories. So I saw this morning a concerted effort to smear Abrego Garcia. This is patriarchy, blame the victim 101. It's also fascism 101. I had every right to do what I did. So what if it was illegal? Look at what he has done. He's a criminal. He's a gang member. Kristi Noem, who is the head of the Department of Homeland Security, released a police report this morning, or yesterday, of Abrego Garcia's arrest in 2019. So I covered this yesterday. Yes, he was arrested in 2019. They said loitering in a Home Depot parking lot. We all know that that's where a lot of many illegal immigrants go to try to get day work. He was trying to get work. He was accused of being a gang member. It was alleged that he was wearing a hoodie that many gang people wear, something like presidents with dollar bills in their eyes or something like that. And I guess there were other gang members who were there in the parking lot at the same time. And then, of course, like I mentioned yesterday, there was this confidential informant who said that he was a gang leader in a state that he never lived in, Long Island, right? So all of this is now released. The Department of Homeland Security does not normally publish people's police records. But this administration felt it necessary to let everybody see this police record of Abrego Garcia and all the things the police were accusing him of. He was not convicted of any of this. He went before a judge. He was in jail when he was picked up for this. He went in front of a judge, and the judge, in fact, rather than saying, yeah, he needs to be deported because he's a member of a gang set, in fact, what this judge found, and this is what a judge does, police have their thing. They gather evidence and they try to prove their evidence in court. If they can't prove their evidence in court, the person that they allege is a gang member or whatever goes free. That's exactly what happened to Abrego Garcia. So you're people who are coming here and showing this police record as proof that he was violent and he should have been kidnapped off the streets and sent to El Salvador, you're missing the complete point. A police record is not an indication of guilt. He went before a judge, and the judge said not only is he not a gang member, he is a victim of this gang, and if we send him back, he will be in harm's way of this gang. That's a judge's job. It used to be that judges mattered in this country, and that judges' rulings meant something. But since we have a president who has no regard whatsoever for America or the rule of law or the Constitution, you all stopped believing that judges matter and that judges are due a service to the people of this nation. That's called due process. You can't use someone's police report as proof of guilt. If you want to, if you're going to argue with me and say, but, okay, read the Mueller report. Read Jack Smith's report. If you want to tell me that a police report is enough evidence to prove guilt, then that also needs to apply to your president. Read the Mueller report, have you? Read Jack Smith's report, because there's some pretty damning stuff in that. And in fact, the guy that you are defending, saying he had every right to kidnap this innocent man who has no criminal history whatsoever. He wasn't even charged with being here illegally because he was at risk. But you're taking the word of a guy who was convicted of 34 felonies. Which is it? You want to believe a police report is proof of guilt for Garcia, but you want to dismiss it, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of pages of evidence against the sitting president, but you're going to say that's bullshit? So you can't have it both ways. You can't say a police record or an investigative report by Homeland Security or the Department of Justice, you can't say it is proof of criminal activity for Abrego Garcia and then completely say it doesn't mean anything for the president who kidnapped him off the street. So back to the comments on my channel this morning. And I want to share this because I want everyone to have full information when you are on the internet. It is a strategy to flood the internet with this information. It is a strategy to use a police report. You notice they're spreading the police report and not the judge's ruling, because the judge's ruling shows the truth that he was not a gang member and that he was in fact in danger from that gang and should not have been shipped back to El Salvador. Why did the Homeland Security not release the judge's ruling? Question everything. Because the judge's ruling does not support their crime. They committed a crime by kidnapping him off the street and shipping him to another country without due process. And they're trying to distract you. And they are using bots and trolls and propaganda to continue to keep you defending the criminal in the White House. Blaming the victim. It's a smear campaign. George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor, it is a smear campaign. in order, I mean, they're using you. How can you not see that they're using you, playing on your emotions, playing on your ignorance, playing on your laziness? Because you're not willing to do any further research yourself. You're totally willing to be spoon-fed like a little baby, whatever they want to give you. And they're counting on that. They're counting on your laziness. They're counting on your ignorance to continue to break the law, to continue to suspend the Constitution, to continue to steal and rob America blind at your expense. Are you going to let them do that? So when you see all these comments, just know they aren't real Americans. These are not Americans who are spreading this propaganda, blaming the victims, smearing Abrego Garcia. I just saw, don't quote me on this because I didn't dig down, but it looks like the shitheads' approval ratings are down another 10 points. Most Americans do not accept this. And when you're seeing bombarded comments of people defending him and painting Garcia as a criminal and a gang member, just know these are bigger, more powerful forces in effect bombarding you with lies and a smear campaign to allow Trump, the piece of shit, to continue this reign of terror, for lack of a better word. So that's how I see it. Let me know your thoughts below. Thank you all for being here. If you enjoy my content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.